guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is China. I am currently a registered radiologic technologist, and I like making videos on radiology, advice, tips, and just vlogging my life. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I studied as a radiologic technology student. I get this question asked a lot, and honestly, I didn't know how to go about making this video because, like, when people ask me how I studied as a student, I'm just like, I just did it. Like, I just studied. But I'm going to try my best to give you guys tips and advice on how to study, how to ace your exams, and how to just be the best student that you could possibly be. So the way that my program was structured is we had lectures. We had lectures every day. That was the majority of class. For most of our classes, we did have a positioning class, which was of course more physical, where we learned how to position the patient. We practice on each other, we practice on our phantom. But all of our other classes, like radiation physics, anatomy and physiology, principles of radiology, those were all courses where we pretty much just sat there for 2 hours straight and listened to lectures. So what I like to do is have a notebook. This is one of my notebooks, and I'm old-fashioned, you guys. I like to write down my notes with pencil, pen, and take notes like that. So the way I did it was I would listen to lecture and I would just take notes. I'll show you guys an example. The way that I would study these notes would be to write down the subject, and under the subject I would write questions, and then underneath the questions, key factors. I would go over those key factors again and again. I would highlight either the question or the answer, and after lecture I would just go over it again and again and again. Studying is pretty much memorization. Like, of course you want to understand the concepts. It's important to understand, but it's also memorization. If you memorize the questions, you understand the concepts, and you memorize the answers to those questions, you will ace the test. Like, it's not rocket science necessarily, but yeah. So for me, I would just write down the question, write down the answer, highlight important key terms, and just go over it again and again. Now, there is a website that if you're a student you may be familiar with, and it's called Quizlet. Quizlet was so helpful to me. There's so much information on Quizlet. I actually paid for the subscription. It gives you full access to all of the questions, all of the answers. So in the beginning of my radiology program, I would just simply make flashcards and study the flashcards on Quizlet. But I kind of found it was helpful a little bit and on certain subjects, but not 100%. So I sat down with my professor and he told me that, you know, flashcards are more so like high school-y, like you're in college now, you need to find a different study method. So eventually I did develop my other study method, which was writing down the question and the answer. But Quizlet is also a great study tool in my opinion. It has so many questions, so many answers. I highly recommend subscribing to Quizlet. Another tool that was very helpful for me studying was to go over the lecture after class and just read each slide again and again. This is what one of my classmates told me that she did, and she would always ace all of her tests. And this girl worked almost full time, you know, so she didn't have a lot of time, but she would always ace her test. So I asked her one day, like, what do you do to study? And she straight up told me that she just goes over the lecture slides about 5 times each slide, and it sticks in her brain. So I did try that, and it did seem to work. I did really good on the test, but I didn't necessarily like that method because, I mean, it's kind of boring just going over it again and again, especially when the slides are like 50 slides long. That's a lot. That's time consuming. It's a lot. So if you want to try that method, I'd recommend trying it because it does work. It's just more time consuming. But like I said, studying is pretty much just memorization. You want to go over it again and again and again. So another helpful website was this website called study.com. and I found this to be very helpful. They have all types of subjects, all types of topics, videos, lectures, slides. It is so helpful. The only thing is it does cost money. It's not free, and in my opinion as a student it was kind of pricey. I think it was like $30 or $40 a month. But if you are struggling in a class or on a specific topic and you really need that extra help, I feel like watching videos on the subject, whether that be on study.com or YouTube, you might be able to find some free ones, will really help you to understand the concepts better. So I definitely recommend study.com. Also, as a radiology student, another helpful website, which you will actually have to use later on most likely. Our program, it was a requirement, so I don't know about your program, but it is called RadTech Bootcamp or cloverlearning.com. This is another one that has videos, lecture, it has everything radiology related. It has practice quizzes. You can type in any subject, any topic, and it is definitely helpful. Now, it also is not free. It does cost money. I forget how much this one cost. I actually think that our program may have covered it for the first couple months. I don't remember. One of them they covered, but unfortunately it does cost money, but it is so helpful. So if you are struggling, I highly recommend subscribing to RadTech Bootcamp, and it will help you a lot. Also, my last study tip will be to read the textbooks. I know that textbooks are boring, chapters are so long, there's so much information, but if you at least skim over the chapter that you're focusing on, maybe highlight the important parts, go over those highlighted parts, you will do good on the exam. But it is important to pick up the book, open it, and actually read it. Also, with our program, we would have textbooks and practice workbooks that go with those textbooks. Now, the workbooks were optional. They told us to buy them, but we didn't have homework, or we didn't have to complete them. But I did try it out one time and I found it to be helpful, which the workbook is just pretty much questions that go along with the specific chapter that you're reading. So if there's a workbook to the textbook, especially if you're struggling in that subject, I highly recommend going over that workbook and practicing the questions over and over again till you get them right. And I think that this will really help you to do well. So that is it, you guys. I feel like this video is going to be so short. Honestly, when it comes to studying, like, you just have to do it. Whether it's flashcards, whether it's taking notes, writing down the question, highlighting the answer and going over it again and again, whether it's looking at the lecture slides and going over each slide, you know, 5 to 10 times till your brain memorizes it. There's different methods when it comes to studying. I would say just try out the different methods. Maybe one of the methods that I suggested will help you. Maybe there's another video out there, or you can do some Google research on how to study. But when it comes to studying, you guys, the main key is to just do it. As long as you study. I procrastinated so much in the program, and it hurt me. But I quickly got back on top of it. I started studying and I did good after that. So you just got to do it. And I'm sure if you study, understand the concepts, don't just memorize the material, but really understand the concepts, you will do well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe if you want to see more videos. And if you have any questions or video suggestions, just comment them down below and I will try to make it happen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.